What's good, people in the world? Today it's Rob Maggie here, and today I have for you Star Atlas Chatter number 5. Now remember, this series here is throughout the week. I lurk in the Star Atlas Discord, the town halls, Atlas brews, and what have you, looking to pluck out that sweet alpha so you can make those key decisions as you build your empire here in Star Atlas. This week is going to be a great week, so let's jump right on into it. Now, I've titled this one Star Atlas Chatter number 5, Wreck, get your mind right, because we have to be prepared for this wreck. I think it's going to catch some people off guard, so I want to make sure that doesn't happen to any of us. So I want to start with the Discord chatter. Actually, I got into the action this week. I asked a couple of questions in the foundation room. We'll start with this first one about claim stakes. Will claim stakes generate any R20 during wreck? Easy question, yes or no answer. And Wagner jumped in with no. So that's good to know. All right. Next, we have equal access resources and blueprints. So a community member asks, will all 8 base materials and/or crafting recipes, 25 to 30, be available for each faction, or only certain factions will have access to a portion of these? Okay, Shula chimed in, all factions will have the same recipes. Base materials are roughly the same for all factions. So we already know it's not going to be any combat, and all factions have the same access to the different resources. So there you have it. It's going to be a mild playtest. So go as far as you want, mine rare resources, or stay close to your star base or central space station, and get your resources that way. So it's going to be pretty easy this first go around. So take advantage of that as much as you can before they start implementing some other things, making it a tad bit harder. This is definitely the time to stack up. Okay, so next, understanding cargo, fleet-to-fleet cargo management. Actually, I asked this one as well. Once a ship, and I could have asked it way better, but once a ship, the Imp Tap, for example, has filled its cargo, will it have to personally travel to a CSS/starbase to deposit the resources in wreck? Or can this task be done by another ship fleet so the Imp can just keep mining? Okay, and Shula chimes in again here. Yes, it has to travel back and forth since there's no fleet-to-fleet cargo management last time I checked. And throughout the week, that did stand still. That is correct. There's no fleet-to-fleet management yet. So the reason why I asked this, I'm still in the market for an Imp ship. I don't have one yet, but I'm trying to weigh the benefits, pros and cons of getting one now, even though they are 50% off, which is a great deal. But still, at the same time, for $1,200 or $1,250, what have you, whatever it is, you could get 2 other size medium ships, plus some claim stakes, or maybe another small ship. So my fleet currently is looking pretty good, so I don't have to have an Imp ship. It would just be a matter of what kind of deals and things are out there to take advantage of, whether I'll move one way or the other. So I think I'm going to just kind of stand pat here with what I have and not jump on an Imp class ship. But you tell me, did you already get one, or what are your thoughts on it as well? Let's move on. Cargo hauling and fuel. Wagner responds to a question about carry weight and fuel burn. And he says here, are you asking if carrying inventory results in more fuel burn? The answer to this is no. An empty ship will burn the same fuel as a full ship. That might be a cool mechanic sometime in the future, though. If you're asking if larger ships burn more fuel than smaller ships, the answer to that is yes. Now, here is a question that I know I was confused about. We have cargo hold, and we also have cargo modules. So the way to look at it, Wagner talks about the cargo hold. The cargo hold, you want to think of that as like the gas tank in a car. In the cargo modules, medium, large, etc., think of that as the trunk of a car. So he goes on to say, cargo and fuel will always be intrinsic to your ship. I'm not sure I fully understand the question. Your inventory will be comprised of separate slots, separate ones for some of the consumable resources like food, fuel, and ammunition. Those reserves are utilized to operate your ship. You have a separate cargo hold that can also hold a variety of resources, including those R4s. However, those R4 are not immediately consumable for operations. they would need to be transferred to the tanks to use them. It is analogous to having fuel in the fuel tank of your car and also having a fuel canister in your trunk. So the next question, of course, was, and the person asked, will the transfer from a module to a fuel tank be possible in flight or only at a central space station or starbase? So he says within a fleet, you can do it in flight. And in the future, you'll also be able to transfer between fleets. So that's very important to understand. Crafting bonuses, we're still going to have to wait for that. So if you have Central Space Station land and halves, where we know in our halves we're going to have a place for cargo, and we're going to also have a place for a crafting station or a desk as well that will provide bonuses. But none of that's going to be implemented in the first iterations of Rec / Sage here, Sage version 0. Next we have Kriggs, and I asked him, he gave me permission to put him on blast this week. So he's the founder of the Hologram News Network, and he asked, will Central Space Station's crafting bonuses be enabled for Rec? And Shula says, unfortunately not now. So that was that. Next we move into mining, changes on the horizon, possibly. So a question was, I would like to know more about mining in locations based on dry terrain, such as Gas Planet or bottom of the sea if possible. Will the IMP be able to operate in these scenarios? Bunthius replies, it's possible. We originally designed the IMP for asteroid-only mining, and the structures would be for planet side. But when we get to planetary mining, we may change that up. So it's actually still in flux. I don't know how I feel about this. I kind of like it the way it is, that you have certain things for planets and certain ships and things for the asteroids. I think that's cool. But it could go either way. So there's just something to keep in mind as you're buying ships or selling ships and thinking about, what type of gameplay you want to have moving forward. So tell me what you think. Do you like it as it is now, or maybe have it to ships can do planetary mining and asteroids and so forth? Okay, so last but not least, I have a treat for you here. It is, again, Kriggs, the founder of Hologram News Network. He had Steven Sable on his podcast this past, I want to say it was Tuesday, and it had Steven going over the Q2 economic report. So it was very insightful, about 2 hours long, but it was very insightful, a great listen. I encourage you to go ahead and check it out. It wasn't a lot of alpha, which is what we typically talk about here from a play and earn and economic standpoint. But at the very end, I'm glad to listen to the whole thing. At the very end, Kriggs asks a question, basically asking, I have it right here, how do you think citizens and residents will react to the transition in Rec? And actually, Stephen goes on in at length, giving details of what his opinion is. And of course, to be fair, this is just his opinion. This is his thoughts of what he thinks are going to happen. This is not set in stone, but we're just theory crafting here. But it was still interesting nonetheless. And basically, and if you want to go straight to this portion, to listen to the whole thing, it's at 1 hour and 53 minutes and 36 seconds in the video. But however, what I plucked out of it was Rec is going to require active gameplay, he says. So for people who are just investors, their reaction may be to sell ships in their fleet, basically talking about ship volatility. And this is what I was thinking about as well, even last week when we talked about, we had Chris, remember, from the Econ team talking about, hey, this first iteration of Rec is going to make EV look like small potatoes. We're going to need resources. Those resources are going to be used for crafting, and we're going to need more resources. So that to me made me think there's going to be a lot of volatility. So if you have claim stakes and you have a mining ship and you have enough resources and fuel and ammo for your fleet now, maybe a little bit extra, I think we're going to need even more. And this kind of backs that up as well. There's going to be a lot of volatility. So as we're thinking about our ships to purchase or not purchase, again, I mentioned earlier, buy an imp ship now, maybe not. Imp ships could go a little bit lower or they could go higher. We don't know. But there's going to be volatility of people, maybe finding out that they're not going to be able to actively play, and having all these ships, is not really doing them any good. So maybe they'll use it, get some liquidity back, and buy something, maybe some claim stakes or something like that, or maybe get some M ships. Who knows? So it's something to keep in mind. He also talked about intraday seasonality. Basically, certain times of the day may provide opportunities versus other times of the day. So you can have certain regions in the world waking up, just getting started, and then they find out, hey, fuel is skyrocketed because, the people that played in a previous regional world used up all the fuel because certain guilds didn't prepare for it. So the bottom line, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs and fluctuations, friction, as Stephen referred to it, that I think is going to be very fun and interesting. And it's going to create lots of opportunity for those who are paying attention, reading between the lines, and looking for those opportunities to make a profit. How much profit, we don't know. It's just the beginning. So, just dollars and cents right here for now, but it still should be fun nevertheless. So I tell you what, thank you so much for checking out Star Atlas Chatter this week. I look forward to seeing you again next week. That's going to be it. See you next time. Ramega out. Float the buoy.